NBA, Draft Underdog becomes basketball's ultimate lockdown star. Episode 81. With the imagination of Guidance Su and Guidance Zhang, Xiaohua fans in front of the TV also began to reverie. This should not be a reverie, but an expectation. Because, with the strength of these two, the Summer Men's Basketball World Championship will be led by these two. In particular, the existence of Lin Dong directly raised the overall level of the Xiaohua men's basketball team to a level. At that time, maybe a history will be created. I never dreamed that in the NBA, two Xiaohua people would score 30 at the same time. It's a bit dreamy. I'm already looking forward to the Men's Basketball World Championship now. The two of them playing together will definitely lead Xiaohua to set a record. Lin Dong is still a defender. In the past, the defender was the weak link of Xiaohua, and now with him, it really gives people endless reverie. The game was the Knicks' last game before the All-Star break. So after the game, many fans were reluctant to leave. Instead, he continued to watch Lin Dong on the court. I want to wait until I walk into the dressing room before leaving. Lin Dong was surrounded by many press groups at this time. Lin Dong, in this derby match, you showed a strong aggression from the beginning. Did you mean this? Lin Dong heard the question and smiled. You found out. This kind of summer-style humor immediately made the reporters laugh. Haha, actually, no, I just thought about the derby. I need to show strong points. I didn't expect the UAE to feel so good in the opening game, and seeing him score, I thought I couldn't perform badly, so I tried to fight back. Just after answering a question, the reporters still have a lot of questions to ask. But Lin Dong saw Coach Su and mentor Zhang coming this way. So he left the surrounding of journalists directly. Sorry, today's interview is here. I have an exclusive interview I need to go over. After speaking, he walked over from the crowd. Exclusive interview? The journalists looked at each other. I haven't heard of any exclusive post-match interviews. Which media actually made this exclusive interview? They all looked curiously in the direction Lin Dong left. Seeing him walking towards the two middle-aged Xiaohua, he suddenly realized. Haha, it turns out that this is the exclusive interview, he said. It's so interesting. Lin Dong attaches great importance to the reporters of the motherland. Let's go interview others first. Take a walk, but before you go, take 2 more pictures. Click. Seeing Lin Dong walking towards him, Sugwa was just about to speak. I was blinded by a flash of light. I had to cover my eyes with my hand. They waited until the photo was over before they lowered their hands. Then I saw a group of reporters not far away, looked at my side with a smile, and then waved. Haha, I didn't expect that in the NBA, I also became the focus of attention. Director Zhang said jokingly. Isn't it? Didn't you just see their envious gaze? Only we have the right to this exclusive interview, haha. Occupy Lin Dong's light. Director Su said in harmony. Lin Dong hurriedly beckoned, no. After a while of banter, Director Su pointed the microphone at Lin Dong and began the interview. Lin Dong, you performed very well in this game and set a new career high. Does this have anything to do with the derby? Lin Dong nodded. It must have something to do with it. This is my first time playing the Xiaohua derby, and the emotions are a little exciting. And seeing the two teachers coming to the live broadcast, and so many Xiaohua fans watching this game in front of the TV, I felt that I had to perform better. It just so happened that the UAE was also very strong in the opening game, so I went with him. Director Su glanced at Coach Zhang, and then continued to ask. The team has won 7 straight and we've seen some reports that you're aiming for the playoffs, right? Lin Dong pursed his mouth, listened carefully to the question, and then said. Yes, our goal has always been clear, which is the playoffs, and even higher. The team is in very good form and I have a lot of confidence in the team. What Lin Dong didn't say was that the team would build the team around him next. There is also the possibility of trading to the UAE. Because none of this is completely determined, he doesn't say much. If they knew these news, the Xiaohua fans in front of the TV would be afraid that they would not be able to sleep with excitement. After asking a few more questions, the interview ended. Su directed the cameraman to turn off the camera. Lin Dong, have a meal together in the evening, we have already told the UAE. Yes. I'm also going to treat you to dinner. I want to go together. But I need to go back and take a shower first, otherwise it smells too big. Good, we'll wait for you. After that, Lin Dong ran into the player tunnel. At this time, the fans who were still at the scene let out a cheer, shouting Lin Dong's name again. Seeing this scene, Director Zhang sighed and said, Lin Dong is now the king of New York. Originally, D'Antoni wanted to take Lin Dong to the press conference, but because Lin Dong was going to eat with the UAE, D'Antoni looked for Harrington, the second highest scorer today. Harrington regained his chance to play this game. And it feels particularly good, getting 20 points. Knowing that D'Antoni was going to take him to a press conference, he raised his head proudly. Coming to the press conference, the reporters saw that it was Harrington who came in, but there was no Lin Dong. I was very disappointed. After the two walked in, they kept looking at the door, expecting Lin Dong's appearance. D'Antoni brought the microphone to his lips. Lin Dong has something to do tonight, so he won't come. Hearing the news that Lin Dong was sure not to come, he was suddenly disappointed. Seeing the appearance of the reporters, Harrington took the microphone and said confidently, "It doesn't matter if he doesn't come, didn't I come? You can ask me any questions. Lin Dong, this player is too young, does not understand things, does not know what to do and what not to do. The mind is not completely focused on basketball, but we need to be more patient with him." The reporters suddenly looked embarrassed. Even D'Antoni gave him a hard look. And a little regret for bringing him. Although Lin Dong was not there, the interview still had to continue. And hearing Harrington's words, the reporter smelled gossip. Immediately, a reporter asked Harrington a question. "Your performance tonight is excellent, but Lin Dong's performance is better. What do you think of Lin Dong as a player?" Episode 82. Harrington shook his head. "Yes, Lin Dong scored a lot of points tonight, but he played a lot more minutes tonight than me, and if I were given the same playing time, I could also score so many points. As you all saw, I got 20 minutes tonight, and it was a short time, and no one on the Nets could stop me." Speaking of this, the reporter snorted. Harrington was the Knicks scoring number 1 last season, but he was in his early 20s. High scores are even rarer. Harrington continued, this time as a comment on Lin Dong. "As a senior, I'm happy for him to see the rookies of the team playing well. Lin Dong's physical talent is good, but there are still many areas that need to be improved, and he still needs to work harder. And basketball is not just about playing, there are many other things, and he needs to learn more humbly." Hearing Harrington's answer, D'Antoni was a little embarrassed. The eyes looked at the desktop, slightly in a daze. From his answers, the reporters reconfirmed the fact that Harrington and Linton did not have a good relationship. So he asked again. "Excuse me, who is the current boss of the Knicks? Is it Lin Dong?" Harrington laughed, as if he had heard a particularly funny joke. Rhetorical question to the reporter, "You must have just become a basketball reporter, right?" The man replied, "I've been a basketball reporter for 5 years. 5 years? No, how could that conclude such a ridiculous conclusion?" The reporter was stunned, not expecting Harrington to be so direct. Harrington shook his head. "Which player have you seen, only played 3 games, and became the boss of a team? Have you ever seen a 3D player as a team boss?" As soon as the words fell, the scene was shocked. D'Antoni knocked on the table, reminding D'Antoni to pay attention when he spoke. But Harrington ignored it and continued his remarks. "Lin Dong's performance is good, I also admit it, but he is still too young, and his experience and ability are far from enough. The boss of the team must be such a player with experience, outstanding ability, and prestige in the dressing room. I've already said it obviously, you should know what I mean." D'Antoni was speechless for a while. He now regretted why he had brought Harrington over. But think about it, after a while, he will be traded. Harrington himself did not realize that there was anything wrong, on the contrary, he was a little smug. As if proud because he corrected the wrong thoughts of the reporter. The reporter wants to continue to follow this topic. However, it was stopped by D'Antoni's. "Don't you have any questions for me? I think my tactical setup tonight is pretty good." He deliberately led the topic to himself. Journalists with a little experience already know what D'Antoni meant. So I followed his words and continued. 7 consecutive wins, what is your mood now? The atmosphere at the press conference became strange because of Harrington's presence. On the other side, Lin Dong and Su Guide, Zhang Ji, and Alian ate together. During this period, Dayo was also videotaped. Dayo was happy to see such a scene. "It's a pity that I have to play with the team, otherwise I also want to participate in such a gathering of compatriots from other countries." Lin Dong talked to them. "It's like an old friend for years. Even the UAE has a lot to say tonight. Usually on the Nets, he rarely feels this kind of intimate atmosphere. So tonight, see so many compatriots." He also opened his heart and chatted cheerfully. Several people chatted until after 12 o'clock before they went back separately. When the UAE returned to the hotel, he still enjoyed the scene of talking about everything just now. In his mind, a strange idea even arose. If only I were on the same team as Lin Dong. Because this game is the last game before the All-Star. So after this game, the team was basically on vacation. Many players also use the All-Star weekend as a good opportunity to rest. Players can rest, but the general managers of the teams are really busy. Because many teams go to the All-Star host city, this year's All-Star host city is Dallas. While everyone is there, it is a good opportunity to communicate. Mills was also ready to talk about the deal at that time. After the Suns, they approached Mills several times. The purpose is still to trade to Lin Dong. However, Lin Dong has become a non-sale item for the Knicks. The future of the Knicks depends on Lin Dong, so he will not trade Lin Dong no matter what. So later, he directly rejected the Suns. For this, the general manager of the Suns also regretted it for a long time. I was annoyed that I didn't make a decision earlier and didn't execute the trade resolutely. If at that time, he could have seen Lin Dong's potential earlier and completed the deal with Xiaoxi. Not only can he exchange Lin Dong, but he can also get David Lee. It's really earned. If that's the case, it's the Knicks who should regret it. Nash plus Lin Dong plus David Lee. With such a combination, the Suns have every chance to compete for the championship. However, all this has become impossible. Next. The best-selling basketball magazine in the United States, Sports Time and Space, has released a new edition of the journal. And the cover of the journal is Lin Dong, author of magazines with a very high status in the NBA. It comes out every 2 weeks, and the cover of each issue is the hottest star of these 2 weeks. James, Kobe Bryant and other stars are all resident stars of this magazine. On the cover, there is a photo of Lin Dong dunking during a game against the Thunder. Behind Lin Dong, it was Durant's helpless eyes when he watched Lin Dong dunk. This photo, Lin Dong is very domineering, plus Durant's background, showing a kind of momentum in the world. The headline was New York Kings take off, playoffs, here we go. Another of the hottest basketball newspapers in the United States, Slam, on the cover of today's newspaper, also features Lin Dong as the cover. On the cover, there is a photo of Lin Dong and the UAE in the same frame. The title of the cover is Siagwa Derby, with 30-plus scores, who said that Siagwa people can't fly? As soon as the newspaper was released, it was frantically purchased by fans. Especially in New York, it was sold out in just half an hour. On the subway, on the bus, on the road. Many people read this newspaper on their way to work. A young man rushed to the newspapers. "Boss, bring me a copy of Slam." "Sorry, it's already sold out. It's only 10 o'clock. How could it be sold out?" "I just got this newspaper, and within half an hour, it was all sold, and I couldn't help it." The lad was a little disappointed. He just learned that the cover of the new issue of Slam is Lin Dong, and the newspaper also has a poster picture of Lin Dong. Then he immediately ran to the nearest newspaper, but who knew that it was already sold out? There was no way, so he had to run to the newspaper a little farther away. But the result is the same. Episode 83. There are a lot of situations like this in New York City. The same was true for magazines, which sold out within an hour of launch. However, the relatively good thing about the magazine is that after one issue is sold, it will be produced and sold again. But the newspaper ran out and there was no more. So there is also a situation where newspapers and magazines resell each other. Harrington returned home to breakfast. The wife suddenly returned from outside, still holding a newspaper and a magazine. "Harrington, I just saw newspapers and magazines with Knicks players on the cover in the press, and I bought a copy back." Unexpectedly, on the way back, there was another young man who wanted to buy this from me, saying that it was 3 times the price. When Harrington heard the news, he was instantly interested. Newspapers and magazines with Knicks players on the cover, that's me. Out of me, who else has such qualifications? You don't sell newspapers and magazines, do you? No, I guess you might want to see it, so I didn't sell it. Very good, show it to me. The wife put down the rest of her hand, walked over to Harrington's side, and handed him the newspaper and magazine. Harrington, who was originally elated, immediately became ugly when he saw the newspaper. How could it be him? He put down the newspaper and picked up the magazine again. Damn, how is it him again? Immediately angrily threw things on the table. Are these media brains broken? I actually chose Lin Dong as the cover, which point I am not as good as this rookie. Seeing Harrington's angry appearance, his wife was confused and immediately came over to inquire about the situation. What's wrong with you? Why is it so hot? Isn't he your teammate? He's my teammate, but he's still a rookie, he's played less than 10 games, he's far worse than me, but these media chose him as the cover character. Do you say these media have a bad brain? His wife had to comfort him, maybe the media is looking at him as young and more topical, so that's why you don't care too much. It must be so, he is a Siagwa person, and the Xiaogua market behind him is relatively large, so they chose Lin Dong in order to win over the Xiaogua market. It must be like this. Also the new king of New York, it's complete nonsense. Although Harrington comforted himself, he was still angry when he thought about it. So I sent a tweet. New York's new king? Laugh me to death. Ha ha ha. Then there was a picture, which was the cover of the magazine. At this time in the Knicks general manager's office, Mills sat at his desk with the latest issue of Sports Time magazine and the Slam newspaper. He bought these 2 books in the morning and had already read them through. Very satisfied. These 2 readings have a very high status in the NBA. Being on this cover is an affirmation of the player's popularity and strength. At the same time, it can also do a great publicity for the players. He can't even remember who was the last Knicks player on the cover of those 2 books. When, even more unrememberable. Okay. While he was still immersed in this joy, his phone rang. It was his assistant. What's wrong? Mills, go check out Harrington's Twitter. That kid is crazy. What? Mills hurriedly turned on his computer and checked Harrington's tweet. When I saw the content, my eyes widened incredulously. Hair exploded. Did Harrington get kicked in the brain by a donkey? He was ready to trade Harrington, but he didn't expect Harrington to make this deal before this. He wanted to call Harrington over immediately and scold him now. Okay, I see. After that, Mills wanted to hang up the phone. But the assistant also said, more than that, Harrington said other things. What? And what did he say? I'm not very good, or you better go and watch the basketball news yourself. All right. Mills hung up the phone and started the basketball news. In the run-up to the All-Star game, the news at this time usually revolves around the All-Star weekend. However, when I opened the home page, I was almost dominated by Lin Dong. The title is very eye-catching. 7 wins in a row. The Knicks are unstoppable. New York's new king, Lin Dong, is leading New York to create a new era. The next superstar, Lin Dong, from Xia country. Seeing this, Mills also felt very good. Lin Dong's influence is constantly expanding. That's exactly what he wants to see, to create New York's own star. But as he continued to scroll down, he couldn't contain the anger in his heart. Harrington openly said that he is the boss of the Knicks, and Lin Dong is here to assist him. Harrington expressed his dissatisfaction with Lin Dong, and there was a huge contradiction between the two. Provocation? Harrington looked down on Lin Dong and thought that Lin Dong was just a 3D player. Locker room conflict. Harrington, Lin Dong once broke out in the locker room. Mills slapped his palm on the table. Harrington, this idiot, what's going on in his head? The team is just getting better now, and he's doing things here. He didn't want to pursue that locker room conflict. Now it has actually intensified. Another tweet, and another verbal statement in front of the media. Do you really think that you are the boss of the team? He immediately called Harrington and asked him to delete the tweet. The rest did not say much either. Because there is no need to say anything, anyway, after a while, he will leave the team. Although Twitter was deleted, the media has all known about this matter. More hype coverage. Nate was also at home at this time and knew about it. When he saw the news, he looked confused. He glanced at his wife and pointed to his phone. Is Harrington crazy? Actually said such brain-dead words. Nate's wife is not from the basketball circle, but because of Nate's relationship. I know the NBA very well. She also often discusses NBA matters with Nate and is very familiar with the situation in the Knicks. She took Nate's cell phone and glanced at the report about Harrington. It was also incredulous. Maybe he hasn't figured out the situation yet. It won't be long before the team will trade him. Nebbit nodded, very much in agreement with this conjecture. Whether it is the general manager or the coach, the team is already consciously or unintentionally supporting Lin Dong's position. Lin Dong is young and has great potential. It's the Knicks' hope for the future. But Harrington openly expressed his dissatisfaction with Lin Dong, and the result can be imagined. When James first went to the Knights, the then Knight boss Ricky Davis publicly said that James was here to assist him. As a result, it didn't take long for him to be traded away by the Knights. Harrington will be the next Davis. Episode 84. Every Knicks player saw the news. Pray for Harrington at the same time. Leaving the team has become almost inevitable. But there is also a player who is very worried at this time. That is Dong. He used to be with Harrington and did not deal with Lin Dong. Don't pass the ball to Lin Dong yet. As the current situation suggests, the team must attach great importance to Lin Dong. And if you don't get it right, you will be regarded by the team as a gang with Harrington. If you don't get it right, you will also be traded. Although he is no longer a starter in the team. But you can also play a substitute. But if you go to another team, with your current level, you may not be able to get any other opportunities. Lin Dong came back late last night, so he got up late today. As soon as he woke up, he received a phone call. It was Perry who called. Lin Dong, congratulations on your 7 consecutive victories. Thank you, I didn't expect you to still pay attention to me. You guys are so hot now, it's hard not to pay attention. Lin Dong was also going to ask Perry today, but he forgot it last night. Unexpectedly, Perry took the initiative to call him today. I have good news for you here. What good news? I have a watch here, they want to speak for you. I said I know you well, so I called you first. Are you free now? Yes. Or you come to the company to find me. Talk about endorsements. Okay, you send me the address, I'll go right away. Hanging up the phone, Lin Dong called Mark again. Players endorse sneakers, that's the most important cooperation. As for the rest, it is all additional income. No number of endorsements is much. However, Lin Dong didn't know much about this aspect, so he still had to bring Mark to talk with him. The two soon arrived at Perry's company. As soon as he entered the door, everyone's eyes fell on Lin Dong's body. With a height of 2 meters, a tall figure, and a handsome appearance, he became the most eye-catching person as soon as he appeared in the crowd. Hey! A blonde beauty greeted him when she saw Lin Dong. Then, more people greeted Lin Dong. The blonde beauty who had just greeted Lin Dong picked up a magazine from the table and showed it to Lin Dong. I just bought a magazine with your cover printed in the morning, and I didn't expect to see you now, it's amazing. Lin Dong walked up and took the magazine. I haven't even read this magazine. With that, he flipped through it. He came together in the morning and got a call from Perry. And then it came straight here. So I haven't had time to read the news, and I haven't read any magazines or anything like that. Mark also walked up. Lin Dong, do you know? The magazine sold out in half an hour. Hearing this, Lin Dong himself was a little surprised. But as expected, he always believed that he would catch fire. This is also the reason why he dared to treat Mike so confidently before. Lin Dong, here. In the distance, Perry beckoned excitedly to Lin Dong. Lin Dong greeted the people next to him, and then walked towards Perry with Mark. As soon as Perry saw Lin Dong, he smiled like a flower. A row of neat and white teeth is exposed, incomparably sweet. You look handsome today. Lin Dong smiled and followed her into the office. Inside the office, there were already 4 or 5 staff members sitting at this time. Saw Lin Dong come in. All of a sudden, they all stood up. Come over and say hello to Lin Dong. One of the young men said politely. Lin Dong, hello, I'm your fan, you played that game last night so well. Originally, I was going to call you myself to talk about cooperation, but Perry said that she knew you very well, so I asked her about this. Lin Dong glanced at Perry. Then he said to the young man, yes, I know Perry quite well. Perry looked a little shy at this time. Okay, let's sit down and talk. Mark said at this time. Yes, everyone sit down and talk. Let me introduce myself first. I am the general manager of the marketing department of Mito Watches. My name is Frank. This time, our company has launched a new watch, and the style of the watch is more sporty, so we wanted to find 2 spokespersons for the image of sunshine. You two, we feel that we are the most suitable candidates, so we sincerely hope to cooperate with the 2 of you. This general manager, named Frank, introduced Lin Dong. After speaking, he also asked the assistant to take out 2 watches and handed them to Lin Dong. This watch is the new model we will be launching. Lin Dong took the watch and passed one to Mark. And then look at it. The watch is black as a whole, and the overall look is atmospheric and full of craftsmanship. The 2 watches, one large and one small, are men's and women's models. When Lin Dong saw this watch, he liked it very much as soon as he saw it. At this time, Mark whispered to Lin Dong. Watch endorsements can be accepted, which is conducive to improving the identity of the players and also showing the style of the spokesperson. This watch brand, although not very famous, but the evaluation is very good, can cooperate. After Lin Dong listened, he looked at Frank. This watch is very good, I like it. Hearing Lin Dong praise this watch, Frank was also very happy in his heart. This watch has taken our company a long time to develop, and it is our main series launched this year. So in terms of spokespersons, we also hope to find the most suitable one, and the 2 of you made a unified decision after unanimous discussion with our company. After he finished speaking, he took 2 more contracts from the assistant's hand. Then stood up and gave it to Lin Dong and Perry respectively. This is the contract we have drawn up. The endorsement fee is $1 million a year, and if the two of us are not satisfied, we can continue to negotiate. Lin Dong did not look at the contract, but directly gave it to Mark. Mark is a professional manager and is very familiar with these endorsements and other business activities. And it was recommended by Nate, who is also very trusted. So this contract, for Mark to see, is the most suitable. Mark carefully flipped through the contract, about 10 minutes later. Roughly read it. Leaning into Lin Dong's ear, he whispered, "You can cooperate, the price of the endorsement fee is relatively high, and there are no unreasonable terms. However, I have to read the specific contract carefully." Lin Dong nodded in satisfaction. Mark's serious attitude made him feel very reassuring and responsible. "So be it. I hope to settle this matter today, and the specific matters of the contract, we will directly discuss in detail now. $1 million a year, for the current Lin Dong. It's already a big number. For himself as a newcomer, he has not achieved anything. Mito can give such a price, it is full of confidence in itself. Then you also need to show a little sincerity. Moreover, Lin Dong still hopes to spend more time on basketball. If you can complete this thing in the shortest time, it is naturally the best." Frank was a little surprised, he didn't expect Lin Dong to be so cheerful. "Okay, then let's settle this matter today." In the hours that followed, several people had detailed discussions about the contract. The contract was finally completed. "I hope that this cooperation can achieve a win-win result," Frank stood up and said. According to the provisions of the contract, the endorsement fee will be credited to Lin Dong's account the next day. Then, a week later, the advertisement was filmed. Episode 85. After talking about cooperation, Frank left here. Lin Dong looked at Perry. "You recommended me to them. Otherwise, with my current results, they should not have thought of working with me." Perry shook his head. "I recommended you to them, but before that, they had already made a decision, and the person who wanted to cooperate was you. It's a bit of a coincidence, but it already shows that you have a lot of influence now." Lin Dong shrugged and glanced at Mark. Mark said again, "You are now in New York, even in the United States, and you already have a high popularity. Magazines like that were sold out within half an hour of going on sale, and that says it all." Lin Dong sighed, "Okay. Then let me, a popular player, treat you two to a meal." Mark was all obligated to help Lin Dong before. But not now. Lin Dong asked Mark to go back and draw up a contract. Officially make Mark his manager. After the three of them had lunch, Mark went back to work, leaving Lin Dong and Perry behind. Lin Dong asked Perry to accompany him around New York. Although it has been more than 2 weeks since it crossed. But almost all of the day is spent on basketball. "I haven't seen this cosmopolitan city yet." Perry was also very happy. It was not until the evening, after dinner, that Lin Dong sent Perry home. In the evening, Lin Dong returned home. Received a call from D'Antoni's. "Lin Dong, do you have any arrangements for the past few days? I'm going to practice well in the arena." "Very good, but I want to change the training venue to Dallas, and I have a big name sparring partner for you." In Lin Dong's mind, the first thing that came to mind was Nash. "It won't be Nash, will it?" Lin Dong said tentatively. D'Antoni laughed, a little proud. "If you can invite Nash, a sparring partner, looking at the entire NBA, I am afraid that few people can do it." "That's right, it's Nash. I've made an agreement with him. Tomorrow night we will meet in Dallas and have a meal. The day after tomorrow you can start training. With Nash sparring, it will definitely be a huge improvement for his skills." Lin Dong did not have the slightest hesitation and immediately agreed. "Okay, I'll book a ticket right away." After hanging up the phone, Lin Dong opened his properties panel. Name, Lin Dong. Height, 201 centimeters. Weight, 100 kilograms. Arm span, 220 centimeters. Offensive, 83 on layups, 82 on the field, 80 on three-point range. Defense, 90 steals, 88 rebounds, 94 outside defense. Technique, pass 73, possession 74. Physical fitness, speed 93, strength 92, bounce 90, fitness 91. Skills, death rapper, dry pull jumper. Upgrade point, 45. This wave of 7 consecutive wins has created a lot of upgrade points for Lin Dong. He used all his upgrade points to improve his possession. Although compared to the original 71, it is only an increase of 3 points. But Lin Dong already clearly felt that his control over basketball was much better. It's also the key to his ability to carry out some ball-carrying offense in his recent games. Now, when facing the defense, he is confident that he can break through with the ball. Just can't make some gorgeous dribbles yet. His current passing ability is only 73, according to the rules of the previous system. As long as you are a project with low practice attributes, you will get more upgrade points. Compared to offense, the ability to pass the ball is improved. It can increase the threat of oneself on the field, but also the ability to drive teammates. Therefore, training with Nash, Lin Dong is undesirable. That night, Lin Dong booked the plane ticket. This All-Star game has nothing to do with him, but it is a good opportunity for him to improve. The next day, Lin Dong got on a plane to Dallas in the morning. Because of the All-Star game, the airport is very lively at this time. Every flight has the potential to come down to an NBA star. Therefore, at the exit of the airport, there are many fans. Lin Dong stepped off the plane and walked out of the airport. Many fans began to take pictures from a distance. Look, that's Lin Dong. Really, real people are more handsome than on TV. If he hadn't missed the All-Star ballot, he would have participated in the All-Star game this year, and I would love to see him in the main game. He's a bit like the protagonist in a movie, with the peak at the beginning, and the face of a movie star, so perfect. Although many fans like Lin Dong very much. But he didn't rush up, surround Lin Dong, and then ask for an autograph or something. They are more inclined to give idols more freedom. So just took a lot of pictures from afar. Lin Dong felt very comfortable at this point, whether it was in New York or in other cities. Everywhere has its own fans. However, fans are generally more rational and do not follow themselves all the time. Lin Dong got into a taxi, and the destination was the hotel that D'Antoni had booked for him in advance. The taxi driver glanced at Lin Dong through the rearview mirror. Then he said, a little embarrassed, "I thought I was dreaming? I didn't expect it to be you, Lin Dong. My son likes you very much, can you help me sign his name?" Such a request, Lin Dong directly agreed. Under normal circumstances, Lin Dong would agree to such a request for signatures. Especially for younger fans, he will be more friendly. Because many small things can have a big impact on children. Perhaps it was this signature that made a small fan firm up his dream and eventually become the next star. Many NBA stars, when young, grew up chasing stars. Hearing Lin Dong agree, the driver parked the car to the side of the road. Then from the trunk, a Mavericks number 41 jersey was taken out. "I'm sorry, I'm a Nowitzki fan myself, so only his jersey is on the car." When the driver gave the jersey to Lin Dong, he was a little embarrassed. Lin Dong took the jersey with a smile and signed his name with a Chinese on it. Then he said, "I like Nowitzki too." Episode 86. Lin Dong came to the hotel, and it was already 5 o'clock in the afternoon. D'Antoni arrived in Dallas one flight before him. After a brief rest, Lin Dong came to D'Antoni's room. Pushing open the door, it was Nash who opened the door. Seeing Lin Dong, Nash opened his arms enthusiastically. "Hey, little one, meet again." Lin Dong went up and hugged Nash. "Lao Na, you are very happy to see you." Nash was stunned. "Lao Na? What is this called?" But I didn't think much about it. The three of them sat in the room and directly began to discuss the training plan. This All-Star weekend has 4 days off, and on the last day we go back to our respective teams. So the time left for our training is actually only 3 days. We'd better make the most of those 3 days, understand? Lin Dong nodded and said, "I have no problem, just let me not sleep and train, I can accept it." Lin Dong hadn't noticed it before, but he only knew it after watching the starting lineup of the All-Star game. Nash is the starting point guard in the West, but he is said to have a leg injury and is missing the All-Star game. Also absent this time were Kobe and Paul. Billups replaced Nash as the starting lineup. Although I don't know the reason why Nash doesn't play in the All-Star game, Lin Dong cherishes it very much that he can come and train with him. So I can't wait to extend this training time. Nash said with satisfaction, "Very good, the coach told me before that you are a player who trains very hard. Now it seems that it really didn't disappoint me." The three ate seafood at night and have been chatting basketball together. After chatting for about 2 hours, we returned to the hotel and continued to talk for a while. Nash's view of basketball is similar to that of Lin Dong, that is, the team's victory is the first important thing. Then use your ability to help the team 100%. Whether it's assisting, organizing, or defending, it's a good way to help the team. However, at this time, Lin Dong did not have as much influence on the team than Nash. He is strong because he alone and can't affect the whole team. Nash's choice of attack is also more reasonable than Lin Dong's. These require enough experience to grow. There is no hurry. Early the next day, Lin Dong went with Nash to a nearby training venue. D'Antoni's, on the other hand, went to Mills. Go with Mills to other teams and talk about the trade. The two sides worked at the same time, and it was necessary to transform the team after the All-Star game. If you want to practice passing, you first have to have a good habit, which is to dribble with your head up. While dribbling, go and find the position of your teammates. Secondly, the way the ball is passed should also be very careful. Pass to the big men, preferably high to them. The small people can hit the ground according to the situation. With that, Nash began to make a demonstration. Nash also brought 2 trainers with him, and the 4 of them trained the situation on the ground together. In this situation, my teammate is asking for the ball inside, but his position is not really good. I can't pass to him at this time. It's easy to be tackled. You have to wait until he gets stuck in position, or pass the ball to him at an angle that is not easy to steal, so the timing of the pass should be right. If after a pass, it doesn't have a good impact on the attack, then the pass is a failure and it consumes a little offensive time. When blocking and dismantling, you must remember to dismantle. If you don't dismantle, then this cover is meaningless. As for how to deal with the basketball after it is disassembled, you need to judge according to the form on the court. If the defender doesn't come at you, you need to shoot decisively. But if they choose to defend you and your teammates have a chance, you'd better choose a proper passing method. Pass the ball to him and advance this attack. Usually, after blocking, passing to the big guy, hitting the ground is a good option, but because the big man has a higher center of gravity, he should hit the ground with greater force and a better angle. The offensive choice during the fast attack best reflects the level of a point guard. Playing more and playing less is not the same as playing more with less, and how to change the opponent's defensive position through your dribbling to create scoring opportunities is the key. There is also the timing of the pass. The ball is passed early, the opponent can easily predict the course of attack. The ball is passed late, the opportunity may disappear. A lot of passes on the pitch don't translate into assists. So when you pass the ball, don't think that a single pass will translate into a score. Sometimes you can't pass the ball to the best shooting position, you need to pass through your teammates. So the role of your passing is to drive the offensive rhythm on the field and change the position of the attack. Nash spoke in detail, each of the main points. Just demonstrated to Lin Dong with the sparring partner. And every point, detail is in place. However, because it was only 3 days, Nash basically only talked about it once. As for how much Lin Dong can learn, it depends on Lin Dong's learning ability. According to the introduction of the system, the passing attribute is mainly manifested in the accuracy of the pass, the timing of the pass, and even the shooting percentage of teammates after receiving the ball. After a morning of training, Lin Dong was surprised to find that the system actually directly rewarded 500 upgrade points. Much more than before practicing dribbling. At this rate, in 3 days, he can get 3,000 upgrade points. Enough to upgrade the pass twice. The other side. Today is the rookie showdown. Inside the Mavericks venue, it was bustling at the moment. Many stars have come here. Watch the game and hang out with some old friends. Inside the arena, the stars are shining. Wherever the camera shoots, it can capture an NBA star. The 4 heroes of the wind and dust sat together. In this year's main game, all 4 are all-star starters. However, Paul will not play due to injury. The 4 of them sat on the sidelines, talking and laughing. At this time, everyone happened to talk about Lin Dong. James teased Wade. "Wade, you were actually locked up by Lin Dong in the final quarter defense last time? Haha." Wade spread his hands. "Hey. Don't mention this, okay? I also didn't expect that rookie to be so defensive, and his arm span might be longer than Durant's. Standing in my defensive position, I can actually touch my basketball directly." Anthony and Paul laughed from the sidelines. Episode 87. Anthony laughed and put a hand on Wade's shoulder. "You were also robbed by him," and then fell to the ground, looking a little embarrassed. Wade shook his head helplessly. "Stop laughing, you've all been laughing for a long time." Anthony stopped laughing and said, "Actually, I'm still looking forward to fighting him. This Lin Dong is not like a rookie at all. I want to see how good his defense is." Paul sat on the outermost side, and said, "He's averaging 3 steals and 3 blocks per game right now, which is a bit too much. It's like I play 2K at home and turn up the steals and blocks to the top." James laughed. "I knew you would do that at home playing 2K. I've seen Lin Dong's game, his defense is really good, sometimes steals, it feels like he snatched the ball directly from someone else's hand." Wade heard everyone praise Lin Dong's defense so much. Suddenly I felt a little nostalgic. Yes. When he first started defending me, I might have looked down on him a little, but then I actually got serious. But I was still guarded by him. He is not only tall and arm length, but also has great speed and strength. It's a bit hard to break through his defense." Anthony said again, "Come on. You're making excuses for yourself. Watch me next time I fight him, give you a good show, what is called offense. You can't rely too much on breakouts, you need to develop threes with the threat of three-point shooting, he's not very good at defending you. After the All-Star break, the Knicks' first game was against the Denver Nuggets. At that time Anthony will fight Lin Dong. Seeing the recent Lin Dong fire, Anthony has long been looking forward to the game with the Knicks. He wanted to see if Lin Dong's defense was that good. He was very confident in his attack, so he was also confident in defeating Lin Dong's defense. James nodded exaggeratedly on the side. That day, I didn't have a game, I must be watching the live broadcast at home. See if you'll be robbed by him and fall to the ground. After speaking, Wade sighed helplessly. It seems that I will be ridiculed for a long time. The Cavaliers don't have a game with the Knicks behind them, so James wants to play against Lin Dong unless he meets in the playoffs. And the Hornets, led by Paul, have a game against the Knicks. Mills was now in the box with D'Antoni in the venue. There was another person in the box. Jerry, the general manager of the Nets. Jerry, our main purpose today is to talk to you about a deal, and we want to get the UAE. Mills went straight to the point. Before coming over, Jerry had already gone through the phone ditch with Mills. So Mills' purpose he also knew. But he didn't quite understand why the Knicks wanted to get the UAE. Can you tell me why? Why do you want to trade to get UAE? Mills spread his hands and showed an attitude of indifference. As you know, our team is training Lin Dong recently, and we are preparing to use him as the cornerstone of the team. But he signed us under contract until the end of the season and we want to keep him, so we have to show our sincerity. So, signing his compatriot UAE is to show our sincerity. Mills had indeed thought that way before. But then D'Antoni told himself about the UAE and stressed that the UAE is a good fit for the current team. He already has UAE as a must-win player. But of course, these cannot be said, as much as possible in the negotiation process. Show your lower sense of need. Of course, Jerry knew that the Knicks were ready to cultivate Lin Dong, so he fully accepted this reason. How could you have such good luck and let you pick up Lin Dong's treasure? Jerry was a little envious. So since you want to trade the UAE, what are you going to use as a bargaining chip? The Nets are now at the bottom of the league. Already in a rotten situation. There is not a single player in the team that is not for sale. As long as the chips of other teams are high enough, anyone can sell them. Mills had already consulted with D'Antoni before coming. Wilson Chandler. You don't have a good striker in your team, but there are quite a few insiders. Chandler can attack with the ball and defend well, just to fill the gap in your team. Hearing Chandler's name, Jerry was a little surprised. Chandler is averaging 15 points per game this season and is athletic, if put into free agency. It will definitely be coaxed by a lot of teams. Unexpectedly, the Knicks would actually use Chandler as a trading chip in order to get the UAE. Jerry smiled and said, in order to keep Lin Dong, you really took great pains to put in the blood. Mills replied, of course, for Lin Dong's sake, we can give up anything. Jerry heard this and sighed. Oh, yes. If Lin Dong is on his own team, in order to keep Lin Dong, he is willing to do so. It's just that he doesn't have such good luck. You can only follow behind the Knicks and get a little cheap. Alright. It impressed me more than the deal and we agreed to the deal. After the All-Star was over, we signed the agreement. Mills immediately vetoed. No, I don't want to wait after the All-Star, I want to be as soon as possible, preferably tomorrow. Jerry spread his hands, okay. Since you are in such a hurry, then we will sign the agreement tomorrow. Lin Dong and Nash's training continued. There are few breaks along the way. Nash is a training maniac and often trains for a long time after the team has practiced. In the NBA, a beast-rampant league, Nash, who suffers from stature, can only narrow the gap with others through continuous training. Hone your own technology and make yourself have the capital to stand on the alliance. However, Nash also felt tired today. Lin Dong seemed tireless, practicing over and over again. Nash accompanied him on a practical demonstration. Give Lin Dong a demonstration, or act as a defender. It was 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and Nash was panting and propped up on his knees. I'm so tired today, I can't eat enough. After speaking, he looked at Lin Dong. I suspect that your body is iron-beaten, how do you feel not tired at all? Lin Dong walked over to Nash's side and patted him on the shoulder. Actually, I'm tired too, but I only have the opportunity to train with you for 3 days, and I must cherish it. Otherwise, I don't know when the next time will be. Nash lowered his head and gasped. Why don't you go to the All-Star game and come and train with me? Taking advantage of this rest time, Lin Dong asked the question that had been trapped in his heart. Nash looked up and beckoned to Lin Dong. Let's take a break. After speaking, he made it to the floor with his ass. Lin Dong also sat down. Nash put his hands behind his back, turned his head and said to Lin Dong, "Because training with you, not only are you improving, I can also improve." Episode 88. Nash wiped the sweat beads from his forehead with his clothes and continued. "You're the best outside defender I've ever added, and when you defend, I never felt the pressure on me. I can't say that, it should be said that it is a solo defense, and the pressure you give me is the greatest. You may not have played against someone who has played against you and feels that your defense relies on physical talent and is positive. But after playing against you, I think you're smart, you're very strategic when you defend, and I want to learn from that. You know, we Suns are a team that is strong and defensive, and the talent of defense cannot be learned, but the skill of defense can be learned." Lin Dong understood now. Although the Nash is good, he will not give up the All-Star game and give up the rest time for a rookie with little connection. He has something he wants, so it makes sense. "Do you need me to teach you these defensive skills?" Lin Dong asked. Nash shook his head. "You don't have to teach me specifically, I can learn a little in training with you. When it's time to leave, you can tell me about your experience when defending." Although Nash is not physically talented, his ball intelligence is very high. The ability to learn is also very strong. This is a big reason why he can be a two-time MVP, the top point guard in history. Effort determines the lower limit, talent determines the upper limit. There is an effort and it is possible to survive in the NBA. However, without talent, it is almost impossible to achieve such an achievement. Nash's talent lies in his intelligence. Lin Dong said, "Okay. Do you still have physical strength? How about we continue to practice?" Nash waved his hand. "Let's break first, I really can't move." On the Mavericks arena, the rookie rivalry has begun. As a result, the first-grade team swept away the embarrassment of being suppressed by the senior for 7 consecutive years, and succeeded in revenge 140-128. However, Westbrook of the sophomore team scored 40 points and became the second-ranked scorer in the rookie game after Durant, 46 points. The first-grade team is more blooming. Evans 26 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists and 5 steals, Jennings 22 points, 6 rebounds and 8 assists, Harden 22 points and 5 rebounds, Blair 22 points and 23 rebounds, Curry 14 points, Caspi 13 points and 5 rebounds. For the sophomore team, Westbrook had 40 points, Beasley 21 points and 7 rebounds, Morrow 15 points, Lowe 12 points and 6 rebounds, and Gasol Jr. 10 points and 6 rebounds. And Evans won the MVP of the rookie game. Many of the rookies of the year ended up becoming NBA stars. Curry was generally average, but enjoyed the game. But what he didn't know was that the next day, his team would start discussing his stay. Mills and Jerry finished watching the game and left the box. Go back and prepare the materials, as well as the next transaction. On All-Star Weekend, the second game day is the Skills Challenge, the 3-point contest, and the Slam Dunk contest. Lin Dong was still training with Nash. Mills first signed a deal with Jerry. Send the UAE to the Knicks, while Chandler trades to the Nets. After that, it was an appointment with Warriors general manager Larry Riley to discuss the Curry trade in detail. The general manager of the Warriors at this time is not the Miles who promoted the Warriors dynasty. The Warriors have also been in a bad situation this season. Continuing the Western countdown. Although the team boss, Monta Ellis, performed well. But it didn't help. Curry had a decent rookie season, averaging 175 points, 45 rebounds, 59 assists, and 19 steals per game. Mills and Riley sat on the couch. Watch the game off the field. A pleasant face. But this is all superficial, and when it comes to trading, they are still very cautious about it. Mills spoke first. Curry's performance in yesterday's rookie challenge was not very good. Riley immediately denied. The rookie game is meant to be an entertainment game, and what can be said, Curry is a strong contender for this year's best rookie. Mills picked up the Coke beside him and took a sip. Then he laughed. Curry is really good, but you already have a lot of guards, Ellis, Morrow, Watson. And Curry's position and Ellis are a bit repetitive. They are both players who need to have the ball in hand, and it is difficult to bring out the maximum power of both of them at the same time. What your team lacks is a qualified interior player, an attacking interior lineman. Mills is no longer mincing around the bush. Straight to the point. If he wants to get Curry, he has to talk to Riley about the pros and cons. That is, it made Riley feel that making this deal was good for the Warriors. Curry's performance in his rookie season can be described as perfect. Almost all teams can be used as starters. And he's still young, and he still has a lot of potential. The Warriors naturally have high hopes for Curry and will not trade easily. So thinking about Curry, Mills still has a headache. Riley also agrees with Mills' view in his heart, and the overall squad of the team is small. There is a shortage of interior players, and defensive efficiency is the last in the league, so they now need a qualified interior player. But of course he won't say that. Curry and Ellis are very compatible and are still running in, and their coexistence is not a problem. As for the insider, we are looking for it, but it is not so necessary. Mills smiled and continued, you should know that when Curry was in college, he was often prone to injury. Whether his physical condition can adapt to the intensity of the NBA for a long time is a question, and I'm sure you're worried about that. Riley shook his head, I trust our team doctor, I believe in Curry, and that's not a problem. Mills shrugged. All right. In that case, I'll just talk about our trading chips. Harrington. Riley was expected to hear the name. Mills has been stressing the Warriors' lack of interior line, and lately Lin Dong and Harrington have been increasingly at odds. So, with a little guesswork, he knew that Mills wanted to trade Harrington for Curry. Riley picked up the Coke and grinned. Not very satisfied, exchange an already tardy interior player for a rookie with unlimited potential? And Harrington is still a locker room time bomb, I don't want to make the team become a miasma. Mills kept a faint smile on his face, but in fact, he scolded Harrington again. It would be best if Harrington could be used to complete the deal. But from the current situation, it is already impossible. So he proposed other trading options. Harrington plus Douglas, Harrington plus Hill, Harrington plus draft picks. But Riley was not satisfied. In desperation, Mills had to make a major decision. If Harrington can't do it, what about David Lee? Riley's eyes lit up suddenly. David Lee was just selected as an all-star. Even if you look at the entire NBA, he's a very good interior attacker. Trading David Lee for Curry, Riley thought about it, but ultimately denied it. Unless Knicks has a broken brain, it will be like this. Are you sure you're talking about David Lee? Trading David Lee for Curry? Riley asked. Mills nodded solemnly, yes, David Lee exchanged for Curry. The value of the two of them, I don't need to say more, you should also understand that this deal is absolutely cost-effective for you. If you still have to think about it, then I'm sorry, I don't think we need to talk anymore. Wait. Riley hurriedly said, I agree to this deal, but can you tell me the reason? Exchange Curry for David Lee. I am afraid that anyone in the NBA who is of a normal IQ will immediately agree to this deal. But that's what Riley finds strange. Mills looked at Riley with a determined look, because of Lin Dong. Because we want to support Lin Dong and let him be the undisputed core of this Knicks. Episode 89. Let Lin Dong be the undisputed core of this Knicks team. Riley just smiled when he heard this. For Lin Dong, a rookie, is it worth it? He asked himself in his mind and came to the conclusion that maybe it was worth it. Lin Dong is undoubtedly a very potential player. If he is in his own team, he will also focus on cultivation. But just to get right, he had to trade the only all-star on the team. Such an approach, in his opinion, is crazy. But that's not something he should be thinking about. All right. I can accept this reason. So when do you think you can trade? Riley asked. For them, this deal is a sure deal, and he naturally wants to get better as soon as possible. Tomorrow. Let's sign the agreement first. Good. Finally, the Knicks and Warriors came to an agreement. Trade Curry for David Lee. Mills was also very determined about this decision. If it weren't for D'Antoni analyzing a lot with himself and emphasizing Curry's role, he would never have been willing to send David Lee away. He could imagine it when the deal was announced. The alliance will definitely produce a lot of volatility. Then a lot of media came out and said that the general manager of the Knicks must be crazy. In this regard, Mills has been mentally prepared. Both deals have already been negotiated, and only the last one remains. Trade out Harrington, then trade to get D.O. This deal, he is still very confident that it can be completed easily. Off-field matches are still in full swing. In the end, Pierce won the three-point contest. Ross won the skills contest. The dunk contest was once again pocketed by Nate. Won the slam dunk contest for 3 consecutive years, becoming the first triple crown in NBA history. Day 3 of the All-Star Weekend. It's also the highlight of the All-Stars, which is the main game. East-West All-Star Showdown. The lineups of both sides are: Eastern. Coach, Van Gundy, Magic Coach. Center, Dwight Howard, Orlando Magic. Forward, Kevin Garnett, Boston Celtics. Forward, LeBron James, Cleveland Cavaliers. Guard, Dwyane Wade, Miami Heat. Guard, Allen Iverson, Philadelphia 76ers. Westward. Coach George Carr, Nuggets coach. Center, Amar Stoudemire, Phoenix Suns. Forward, Tim Duncan, San Antonio Spurs. Forward, Cameron Anthony, Denver Nuggets. Forward, Dirk Nowitzki, Dallas Mavericks. Guard, DeLong Williams, Utah Jazz. In the end, the East won by 15 points, and Wade won the MVP. Inside the box, Mills also made a deal with the Bobcats. Swap Harrington and Dior. So far, the Knicks have completed all 3 transactions. A drastic makeover of the team. At this time, Lin Dong and Nash's training was almost carried out. Both slumped on the ground, panting heavily. Lin Dong, your learning ability and physical strength surprised me. Nash lay on the floor, eyes on the ceiling, and said. Lin Dong laughed, haha. Ahem. I'm almost unable to hold on. Tomorrow, I will go back and rest for a day, and do nothing. Me too. Lin Dong suddenly turned his head and looked at Nash. Lao Na, have you remembered all the defensive skills I told you? Do you need me to say it again? Nash raised his hand with difficulty, and shook it. Remember, I'll share this with my teammates when I get back. Came to defend you then, haha. 3 days of high-intensity training made both of them a little overwhelmed. However, the sweat paid has also paid off. Lin Dong has obtained a total of 3,200 upgrade points in the past 3 days. He upgraded all a little bit to dribbling and a little bit to passing. Although the passing was only added a little, Lin Dong's concept of passing the ball had a new concept. But these, in terms of properties, do not manifest themselves. Lin Dong just wanted to go home at this time and sleep well all day. Then stay fit, get back on the pitch and try out the results of your training. The day after the All-Star game ended, all teams returned to their respective home stadiums. Lin Dong was the same, returning to New York early the next morning. Then I went home, had a full meal, and then fell asleep. Harrington was at a party with friends. Suddenly I received a phone call. It was from Mills. Inform him that he was traded to the Bobcats. This news was like a thunderbolt on a sunny day, so that he did not react for a long time. General Manager, today is not April Fool's Day, why are you kidding me? No kidding with you, the specific agreement has been sent to your mailbox, and you can go to the Bobcats to report the day after tomorrow. With that, Mills hung up. Harrington was still a little difficult to accept this fact, and he was stunned in place for a long time. A friend came over and patted Harrington. What for? How motionless, drinking. Harrington slowly raised his head and said incredulously, I was traded to the Bobcats. Moments later, Harrington received another call from the Bobcats. Inform him to report to the Bobcats the day after tomorrow. At this time, Harrington finally confirmed the news. How come? How could you trade me? I'm the heart of the Knicks. Harrington's eyes widened. Look ahead obsessively. The friend next to him just now, seeing Harrington like this, didn't know what to say for a while. Harrington, I just saw the Knicks official website and posted an update. Say it traded you to the Mountain Cats. A friend suddenly walked over again. He shouted loudly, but when he saw Harrington's appearance, his voice suddenly became smaller. Harrington excitedly took the phone. On the official website of the Knicks, several latest news have been released in a row. The Knicks made a deal with the Bobcats to send Harrington out and get Boris Diaw. The Knicks made a deal with the Warriors to send Harry David Lee out and get Stephen Curry. The Knicks made a deal with the Nets to send Hatchandler out and get the UAE. Episode 90. 3 consecutive news items on the Knicks official website were issued. Immediately caused a very big sensation. ESPN, crazy Knicks, 3 big deals in a row, team rebuilding. SB Nation, is it crazy, or is it faith? Knicks send team all-stars away. Bleether Report, rotten or rebuild? Knicks surprise 3 deals. Sports Illustrated, all-stars are rookies, and Knicks management's approach is puzzling. The 4 mainstream media of the NBA all reported on the Knicks 3-match trade for the first time. But almost unanimously, all are not optimistic. Especially the use of David Lee to trade Curry is even more puzzling. And Open Sports News, about the Knicks trade coverage. It's also about half of the page. Send away Harrington, send away David Lee, send away Chandler, Knicks shuffle. Knicks build an alternative roster and go after a 5-shooter. David Lee for Curry, what kind of idea can make such a bold operation? Don't understand? The Knicks sent away the team's 3 main players, for what? TNT News that night also made a special program about the deal. Barkley and Smith co-hosted. Speaking of the news about the Knicks, Barkley looked particularly excited. Hello everyone, I'm Barkley, and we're going to focus on analyzing a big event on tonight's show. Regarding the 3 trading news released by the Knicks on the official website today, the news of the Knicks has been a bit much recently, haha. David Lee for Curry, Harrington for Dior, Chandler for UAE. The previous 3 were all main players in the Knicks, averaging more than 15 points per game, and David Lee had just been selected as an all-star. What do you think about such an operation, Smith? Barkley looked at Smith. Smith suddenly showed a strange smile. Then he immediately adjusted his expression and became serious. Oh, how to say it? The Knicks sent Harrington away. I guess a lot of media, including fans, have already guessed. After all, the team has just been on track and has a 7-game winning streak, but Harrington affects the team's unity and sending it away is almost inevitable. But David Lee has just been selected as an all-star, and he is also the team's scoring leader. Lin Dong has too few games to count, the core of the team's tactics, but he actually changed to a rookie with the Warriors. Although Curry has performed well, his thin body and injury-prone physique have put a question mark on the player's future. So this deal is really debatable. As for Chandler, he is also a good striker, and the UAE is soft, and obviously does not play his value. So the latter 2 transactions, I can't understand. After Smith finished speaking, Barkley pulled out a data table. Show it to the audience in front of the TV. Maybe this form can help you find a little reason. Curry, this season, shot 437% from 3-point range, the UAE 369% from 3-point range this season, and Dior from 368% from 3-point range this season. This is the only thing these 3 players have in common. And the 3 players who sent away barely shoot 3-pointers, or have a very low 3-point shooting percentage. If you look at it from this point, the Knicks are likely trying to build a 3-point team, haha. Speaking of this, Barkley couldn't help but laugh. In this era, the concept of defending to win championships is still implemented. And 3 points is not the preferred way to score. Smith chimed in at this time. Maybe they want to imitate the Magic team, you know, the Magic team is a star. The Magic have the highest winning percentage in the league so far, so they want to emulate that roster model. Barkley interjected. There are many factors that contribute to the success of the Magic. First of all, they have Howard as a super interior lineman. And the Knicks don't have it. What about Lin Dong? Smith said. Talking about Lin Dong again, Barkley's face did not look very good. To be honest, Lin Dong is a very good player. He has used 7 games to prove to everyone. However, his current offensive ability, dominance on the court, is still a long way from Howard. Smith pretended to be helpless and shrugged. Okay then. Barkley continued, secondly, the Magic shooter players are not simple shooters, they all have excellent ability to share the ball, and the Knicks, these new traded players, seem to be stronger than Curry. Especially the UAE, his style of play is too soft and he can't even defend the average center on the inside. So overall, I'm not optimistic about their deal. If I have to analyze the purpose of their wave of operations, I can only think of one. That's when the team goes into a rebuild and goes all out to build the Knicks, with Lin Dong as the core. All players who are not suitable for Lin Dong's style of play, players who are not satisfied with Lin Dong, will all be sent away. Barkley's view, Smith very much agreed. When Barkley made his point, he nodded uncontrollably. I can't think of any other reason than that. As for whether Lin Dong is worth doing this for the Knicks, it is also debatable. Finally, Barkley concluded. Overall, this deal for the Knicks is a risky deal, but also a losing deal. Maybe some Knicks fans disagree with me, so let's wait and see. Even when many players heard the news, they also shouted in disbelief. Is Knicks crazy? Didn't you just have a 7-game winning streak? How can you make personnel adjustments to the team like this? David Lee, swap Curry, I don't even know who Curry is. Did the Knicks management suddenly want to mess up? That's why they did it, otherwise I can't figure out the point of doing this. In short, after this incident, almost the entire NBA is talking about this trade. Then the argument is almost identical, which is that the Knicks management made a very stupid decision. In the Knicks general manager's office at this time, Mills and D'Antoni sat together. Mills held his forehead. Just now the team shareholder called me and asked me if I took too much medicine. Whatever I explain, I don't listen. If the team doesn't play well, maybe we'll have to leave class. Instead, D'Antoni was steadfast. Believe in ourselves, believe in Lin Dong, the Knicks will definitely soar to the sky.